Hi English students, this is Mrs. Peacock, and at this point we need to talk about the Midsummer Night's Dream essay. This is the final essay for English 102. This type of essay argues the point of view about Midsummer Night's Dream, utilizing quotes and summaries of the scenes as evidence. This play is on page 1397 of your Norton textbook, so when you're quoting, just make sure you pull from that textbook. And here's an example of how to quote from the play. Notice you do have the act, scene, and line numbers at the end of the quote instead of a page number or just line numbers like with poetry. So for this example from Macbeth, it would be from Act 3, Scene 3, lines 96 and 97. But if you do have any questions about how to quote from plays, just let me know. The rough draft is due Wednesday, November 13th by midnight in discussions for peer review, of course. And then the final draft will be due Wednesday, November 20th by midnight in the week 14 module. So that'll be due just before the Thanksgiving break. This paper is worth 20% of your final grade, so not as much as that research paper. The essay should be at least 800 words in length, and that does count the works cited page. For formatting, it's the same as always, 12-point Times New Roman font, double space with MLA heading and style, and it must have a works cited page with Midsummer Night's Dream cited, but on the second page, ta-da, I've done that for you. So you literally can just copy and paste that into your works cited page. You're welcome. There's no outside sources for this paper, and I'll explain why. I want to know your interpretation of Shakespeare's comedy and not what you've just found online. So just make sure that what you write is an original paper. Also remember that AI is strictly forbidden, so this paper needs to be just your own thoughts about the play. Here's a list of topics you can choose from, and I'll give you a quick rundown. If you haven't watched the whole film, the link is in the module for this week. Just make sure you finish the film because I'm about to plot spoil a couple of things in it through this discussion. So if you've not watched the whole play, pause this video and come back to it. All right, guys, so now that everyone that's watching this has already watched the film, and that's essentially the play in totality, we're going to go over these topics. What symbols are there in A Midsummer Night's Dream? So you could focus on three major symbols. Of course, the love potion is an obvious symbol. The forest could be a symbol. All sorts of symbols are present within the play, but those are some of the more obvious ones. What is the conflict in A Midsummer Night's Dream? There's multiple characters that have unrequited love for another, so that's definitely a major conflict. Also, Aegeus and Hermia. Aegeus is the father who wanted Hermia to marry Demetrius instead of Lysander. That's a major conflict. There's conflicts between the fairies and humans. So depending on which conflict you really want to focus on, you can choose one and really delve into it. How does the forest in A Midsummer Night's Dream function to drive the plot forward? Notice there was a lot of conflict before the forest, and of course there's a lot of mischief and magic that happens in the forest. And then by the time they leave the forest, a lot of the conflicts are resolved. And so it functions to essentially resolve the play's conflicts, but depending on your interpretation as a reader and an audience member, you can really get into how you saw the forest functioning as you were watching the film. There are several themes within A Midsummer Night's Dream. You could pick one theme and point out how that theme drives the plot of the play. So depending on which theme stands out to you personally, that's the theme you would focus on. There is a mythological element within A Midsummer Night's Dream represented by the fairies. Explain how the fairies' storyline mirrors the mortals and how they learn a similar lesson. And when I mean fairies here, I'm mainly focused on Oberon and Titania. Notice they also have the love potion aspect as well, and they begin with a very toxic marriage. They actually are married at the beginning of the play, but they argue so bad and they don't really get along. And then after the love potion, Titania does realize that she loves Oberon. Let's see. There's a play within the play, Pyramus and Thisbe, that Bottom, Flute, and the other comedic characters act within. Although the play is silly rather than tragic, it does illustrate some key points for the main characters, explain the moral demonstrated by this play within a play. So Pyramus and Thisbe, it's very similar, but it's more comedic to Romeo and Juliet. But of course, it's lovers that die at the end, and you can even see the audience as they're watching the play kind of hit home on how lucky the couples are to have found each other. And so really just depending on your interpretation of that play within the play, but you can kind of focus on it for your analysis if you'd like. Sleep and the magical potion are utilized for both humor and conflict resolution within Midsummer Night's Dream. Analyze the love potion and how sleep is part of the process. So notice whenever they apply the love potion, they have to be asleep, and it's the first person that they see that they fall in love with. And what does it mean that they wake up from their dreams and then they see their dream person? There's a lot of interesting symbolism within that. And of course, there's 10 points off every day late, but that's the same rule I have for every paper. And all of your final drafts will be graded using that grading rubric and scanned with anti-plagiarism software. So just make sure you turn in your own original essay. Here's a spot for you to do brainstorming and outlining if you'd like. And there's that works cited page that should be at the end of every essay. So if you have any questions, let me know. And don't forget that we have a fantastic writing center as well that would be happy to help you with this essay. Have a great day.